Hiya, welcome to Snail Baby Tarot. Today I'm doing, I guess a channeled messages reading. I'm checking in with what your spirit wants for you, what your soul wants for you, versus what your ego wants for you. I thought this would be an interesting reading to do because I feel like all the time I have like impulses toward things. I feel really heavily drawn toward things, and it's hard for me to, at first glance understand why I might be drawn towards something or why something resonates so deeply. And I feel like that's something a lot of people struggle with because our minds get so attached to certain ideas or certain outcomes, and we ruminate them on those outcomes so much that that desire starts to cloud our intuition almost. So I thought it would be an interesting check-in to do to kind of compare and contrast what your soul wants for you and what your ego wants for you. And I don't think that these energies by any means have to be opposite or contradictory to one another. I feel like in the spiritual community, the word ego is used in a really negative way, which makes sense, but from the point of view from Jungian psychology, the ego is really just the talking self. Like, we have the whole entire psyche, and then the ego is the point of consciousness through which we experience the world. So this ego energy isn't necessarily going to be something that's bad or greedy or unenlightened. It's really just, the things that you as a human being desire. That may lead you astray if you over-identify with that desire, but isn't necessarily negative or bad. So I just wanted to put that little disclaimer there. There's 3 groups today. I just chose little cards for people to look at, see which ones they resonate with. I don't know, I kind of did it by size. I don't know why. I'm going to use 2 decks. So group 1. The decks I'm going to use is a classic Waite Smith for your soul messages, and then the Harmonious mini tarot for ego messages. So if you resonate with those images, or you like those decks, or if you think small cards are cute, whatever, that might be the group for you. Group 2 is I'm going to be using the Wonderland tarot for your soul messages, and I probably shouldn't show this. I'm probably not supposed to show that card too closely. This Russian fantasy deck, I think it's called like the Tarot of the Magician or something. The title's in Russian. I translated it, but I forgot exactly. But I think it's like the Magician's Tarot. If anyone reads the Cyrillic alphabet, that's what it is. Magician's Tarot, I think. So that is going to be group 2. And then group 3, we're going to be using the Tarot of the Crone and the Moon Oracle deck. So your soul messages, your ego messages. So I'm just curious to see, we're going to just compare and contrast the different energies, see how they align, see how they might contradict each other, and yeah, just see what comes through. So if you need some more time to meditate, of course, take as much time as you need. Watch as many groups as you want or not, up to you. But I'll see you in the reading. Hiya and welcome group 1 if you chose the 2 teeny tiny decks that I have. So today I'm going to, I guess I'll start with the ego messages, that makes sense. I am going to ask a couple of different types of questions. I'm so bad at shuffling. I'm so sorry you had to see that, group 1. I'm really not good at shuffling cards or doing anything with my hands, really. But with your group, I guess first what I want to ask about is just in general, what does your ego seek when they want gratification or happiness or pleasure? What does your ego think will bring them happiness? I think I kind of picked the cards for you to pick intuitively, and with this group, what I feel like is, without realizing it, I picked 2 cards that strongly give off a sense of duality. Is what I'm feeling, with the Temperance card showing the synthesis of opposites, and the Strength card showing, on that Strength card, the reason I chose that one is because it's kind of like about conquering a dragon, which is not the normal Strength card resonance, so it feels like there is like a natural struggle within your psyche between one side of you and some other side. Like, it's hard to synthesize those 2 opposites. Okay, so in terms of what your ego thinks will bring happiness. Oh yeah, I feel like you've been through some stuff. We have the Hierophant coming out first. Ugh, sorry. So I feel like sometimes it's hard for you to pursue your own happiness with the Ten of Swords. Oh no, I hope these cards show up all right. The Ten of Swords. It feels like you do kind of like naturally, and this may be something you've outgrown, or but there's this need to conform that's kind of coming through with the Hierophant and the Ten of Swords, and then we have the Three of Wands. So this may not be something you struggle with anymore. I love the bull on this card. I can't tell if this is focusing well or not. I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't really show up. But yeah, with the Hierophant, it feels like there is, I don't know if you like from a young age, this might not be true for all of you, but I'm getting like this sense of woundedness, of feeling different or unacceptable in some way. So like when it comes to seeking happiness, you kind of feel like you have to go through the appropriate channels or do things a certain way. Like there's limitations on your mind, like you compare yourself to how other people do things or what other people do. Like if like when you're in high school, say, you feel like the cool thing to do in high school is to go to a lot of parties and drink and do a lot of drugs. Either you kind of end up doing that because your friends do it, or you feel like weird and left out if you don't end up doing those things. With the Ten of Swords, it feels like you do struggle to find happiness. Like you struggle to find the way forward, and you kind of need a little help from friends, really. Like you need a little boost from people, because it just feels like, yeah, there's just a sense of woundedness that really comes through, this sense of feeling alienated or different. Yeah, like you have to withdraw into your own little world to find happiness. With the Three of Wands, it takes a while for you to like understand how to instinctually move toward what gratifies you and what brings you happiness. And it feels kind of like you're a bit shy about it at first, because this bull has these crazy daisy eyes. As you can see, they're like bam, zeroing in on it, whereas the person is kind of looking around, like lacking direction, looking around kind of in a confused way. So your conscious mind might not be very good at moving toward what naturally is going to make you feel happy and excited and passionate, but that resonance, that energy is there. And once you like deal with this sense of conformity that's kind of clouding your judgment, and then deal with these wounds, a sense of differentness or the sense of incompleteness, once you kind of move past that, you can start to actually discover your instinctual body, and your conscious mind can become more aligned with your instincts, and it opens up a lot more doors to happiness and pleasure. And then let's contrast that with the soul energy. Okay. I just want to see which way I'm holding the deck. Okay, so how many cards is this? This is a lot of cards. I'll take the ones that I can see. So Temperance was the card that I chose for your soul energy, and that popped out right away. So your soul really wants you to go out into the world and like achieve things and try things and do things your own way. Like your soul is saying you don't have to follow other people's paths or other people's ideas, because you're meant to be victorious by following your own path. And very crucially, these are both Wands cards. So once your ego gets more in line with your consciousness, success comes more readily, because you're ready to just kind of follow your instincts and you let yourself explore and play more, and you feel like you're rewarded with that. With Temperance coming out upside down, what I'm reading this as is that your soul actually wants you to like let loose a little bit. Temperance versus the Hierophant, these are both fives. But this Temperance card is more about inner wisdom. It's about spirituality and growth and transcendence that doesn't come through institutions or through other people's teachings or guidance. It comes through your own sort of sitting with your own energy and channeling and transmuting it. And so I feel like you're being told to like actually let loose a little bit, to take risks. Your temperance doesn't have to be so tempered. Your soul actually feels like you've held yourself back from success a lot with this Ten of Swords here, that you've been overly cautious, or you've prioritized other people's ideas and advice with the Hierophant too much. And now it's kind of time for you to like be a little bit messy, be a little bit risky, and that's kind of where your happiness is. Yeah, your soul wants you to just go out into the world and be proud and bold and excited about who you are. Yes, the Page of Wands. Yeah, your soul is saying you don't have to worry so much about doing things the correct way, about being an expert. There's this exploratory energy that we start to get into with the Three of Wands, and your soul wants you to take it even further, to not worry about experience, to just, if you have ideas that you're passionate about, to just try them, to just explore them. To not worry about the outcome, because this page is just a beginner. Let yourself be a novice, let yourself be an explorer. Don't worry about needing to prove yourself. This is like very, very in a young, exploratory, yeah, it's not about what the page has. You can see they're in this desert. It's not about having anything to show off or anything to prove. It's really about just like going through the experiences and actually and integrating them into your energetic body. That's where your soul says your real happiness is. The Hierophant, the Hierophant energy over here, it doesn't have to be this way, but compared to this, is very stagnant. It's very, very worried about appearances. It's very, very worried about what is and isn't done. And your soul is saying, fuck that, honestly. So switching back to your ego, what does your ego think that your sort of career, calling, and life path should be? How does your ego conceptualize that? The Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so your ego wants to be a very prosperous, accomplished person, and I do feel like this isn't a bad thing at all. I feel like you may be a creative person, or you may have strong ambitions, things that you want to build in this lifetime, legacies you may want to achieve. This Queen of Coins is so interesting because she has a little Aries mountain behind her. It could be the sea goat, like Capricorn, but it looks like Aries to me. So she's like, she's not super, super earthy and like as pragmatic as the Queen of Coins normally is. She gives me more creative energy. She's holding a sunflower, which is, again, this Queen of Wands vibe. So this Queen of Coins is actually a quite well integrated character. She's got the vision, she's got the drive, she's got the ambition, but she's also got the sort of grounded experience and knowledge to really implement and achieve her vision. So I'm seeing your ego really, it's not unreasonable. What your ego wants in terms of career is for you to really have a goal and a plan and to take the needed steps to achieve that vision. Like it's a good goal, it's a good plan. Okay, this is a lot of cards, but fine. They're good cards. The Ace of Wands, you want something that you're really passionate about, a project you believe in, something that will bring you fulfillment. It's not just about money with the Queen of Pentacles. It's about something that you really, truly care about, something you're really good at, something that you feel called toward. The Ten of Pentacles, I don't see you wanting to do this alone. I see you wanting to... Oh my goodness, you see this fancy little couple. I see you wanting to work in partnerships. I see you wanting to build something, not in a community or with a significant other. I see you wanting to be part of a power couple even. Yeah, I see you wanting to like use your resources and wealth to really express your personality, who you actually are. Because I'm just seeing the like silly outfits that this couple is wearing. So I'm seeing that you have very earthy, pragmatic, and grounded goals, but you express them in a really fiery, creative, inventive way. So you seem very well integrated, honestly. We also have the Knight of Wands here. This could be the type of person that you want to work with, the type of person you want to be in this partnership with, or it's just another part of your personality. You really, really have goals, dreams, ambitions, ideals. What don't you want to do, you know? Like, it just feels like there's a lot of different things you want to explore. With the Three of Pentacles, though, again, you have, like, this fire and earth resonance together. It's interesting. You're, like, very good at balancing the vision and the dreaming with the actual implementation and work, or at least that's something that you strive for. The Three of Pentacles, again, I don't see you wanting to do this alone. I see you wanting to have a partner, a collaborator, someone who can learn from you and teach you. So I feel like, yeah, you're calling, you want to go a lot of places, explore a lot of different things, but you don't want to go alone. You want to have maybe a passionate, fiery kind of love connection involved, or maybe, you just kind of want to be a part of a larger community of like-minded souls or people who are drawn, if you're like drawn toward causes with this Ace of Wands, like if you're drawn toward activism or community work, I definitely see you wanting to find your community, find your place, your people, and really actually put the work with them. Like you're ready to learn. So honestly, you know, I'm not saying your ego is showing up with any lower vibrational energy here. It's pretty cool. I think you really don't want to be alone. There's this like, again, there's this like tinge of sadness that comes through a little bit. Maybe because you felt really alone or really trapped or cut off from other people when you were younger. And you realize now that like relationships are kind of what make life worth living or what exalt. It's like, it's not worth getting to the Ten of Pentacles if you're there on the mountaintop by yourself. I just saw 1221, so that's telling me you want the energy to be reflected and reciprocal and well balanced on both sides. I love mirror numbers, I'm sorry. I love them. Okay, so let's check in with your soul, what your soul feels your calling is. Is there a flipped card? Oops, there's a lot of flipped cards. Let's just take the top one, the Tower. That's a really interesting energy to start with. Okay, I'm going to put this back. So I feel like you are looking for something really grounded and stable, but at the same time really passionate and interesting. And I feel like your soul may want to push you farther than you want to go. It's like with the Ten of Pentacles, you want to establish a legacy, a safe sort of launching pad for you to explore other avenues, with the Ten of Pentacles leading to the Knight of Wands. But your soul may want you to do something more drastic than what this pragmatic Queen of Pentacles may be drawn to naturally do. Your soul may be like, you can actually do what you think of as your 10 of, I'll take the top 3. What you think of as like your 10 of Pentacles is like there's something even bigger. You don't even know. So the 10 of Swords came out again. So I feel like your soul is kind of like indicating here that the restrictions that you experienced in the past with the Ten of Swords here were really meant to help you grow. We're meant to leave behind ideas and institutions and just thought forms you'd taken on that weren't for you. And your soul is saying that like when you look to your future, you may want to just like establish something safe and fruitful and abundant, because who wouldn't? But your soul is saying that like there are still challenges you need to face. You need to push further. With the Ten of Swords, it's like you need to not cut yourself off from your full potential mentally. There's still certain thought forms, still certain assumptions you have about what your success looks like that are not going to turn out the way you thought they would. I just saw 1441 again. I'm seeing a lot of mirror numbers. There's this duality here. There's like, I don't know what it means, but I do get a strong sense of duality with this group. I'll see where that goes. But there is like, there's some kind of thing that you're afraid of, some boundary you're afraid of pushing past. With the Tower feels like this ultimate, safe, stable, impenetrable structure that's going to protect us. It's like, we'll never have problems again energy. And so there are certain dreams that are not going to turn out the way you expected because there's something bigger than what you've envisioned. There's something better. With the Hermit being here, there's some kind of growth and lesson that you haven't learned yet that's going to change your path or your calling. And this will be difficult, but it will be a really important learning experience. And I do think that it's ultimately going to help you integrate greater knowledge, that your soul, it's kind of like your ego can't integrate this knowledge until it's ready, until it's had certain experiences. So certain ideas and thought forms will have to be at the very least adjusted, if not crumbled or eroded or destroyed. Because yeah, it's like some new energy can enter in, but you have to clear space for it. Something will, this is so vague and I'm sorry, but with career and life path, excuse me, you have an idea of where you want to be, and it's all like bing, 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 easy little boxes, one after another, and it feels right. It feels simple, it feels perfect, and so you may start to go down that road, and it's not that it's going to be bad or not worth your time or unsuccessful, but there will be something about it where there will be a change, a shift, and you're going to have to integrate some new wisdom. And that once you fully integrate that wisdom with the hermit, it's going to get you going again on your path. And it's like just clearing the rubble from the road so you can keep going. So you can take it all the way, take it even further than you thought you could. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to ask is, what does your ego want in terms of love and relationships, partnerships, soulmates, all that? What is your ego expecting? What kind of ideals or archetypes is your ego attached to? Is your ego attaching itself to? Where are you? Where did it go? Okay. So the Eight of Pentacles. So it feels like you are attaching yourself to a certain ideal. You can see this lady's holding up this little statue. It's like on a pedestal. Is this something that, yeah, it's an idea you really developed over a long time. It kind of resonates with like some inner image, the wheel. Okay, hold on. There's some inner image that you really hold in your mind and you look for out in the world of things. Like with the wheel, you're kind of waiting for that moment when you meet that, oh my god. Just thought of that song from Sleeping Beauty, the one that goes, I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. There's some kind of like dreamy or like idealization energy, and you're like waiting for that perfect with the wheel, that meet cute, that like moment. The Two of Swords, yeah, it's like you're almost in a holding pattern, waiting for it. You don't know which direction to go. It almost feels like you're waiting for this person to show up. I also feel like another thing is that it's like you're of two minds about what you want in a partner or soulmate or what you expect. Like there's part of you that's drawn very strongly toward something from your past, like a soulmate ideal from your childhood, something you absorbed when you were really young. And then there's a part of you that is kind of reforming the mental image of who you're going to end up with, like after your first love ends or something, you kind of have to reform what actually a real adult partnership looks like. So it feels like you haven't fully grown out of a childish mindset, like one face is looking forward and one face is looking back. Yeah, there's just this, yeah, part of you is moving forward and part of you is still in the past, the King of Cups. So yeah, the King of Cups, I just see this as like, you have a strong emotional attachment to a certain energy, possibly from your past, or maybe just a certain ideal of masculinity, or if that doesn't resonate, you can flip it, of course. But either it's like you do idealize this watery energy with the cups. There's a certain ideal of a person that you want in your life, and you really hold that strongly to yourself. You're very, very attached to it, very stuck on it. You're not, this is, the King of Cups doesn't like let go of, there's a nostalgic energy with all of the Cups cards, and then there's just like this strong emotional attachment that comes through. So that's kind of like what your ego thinks, what you're unconsciously or consciously manifesting is this King of Cups energy. So let's see, what does your soul envision for you? What is your soul calling you toward in terms of love and romance? The Lovers. So your soul does see you as having an ideal or a counterpart. This is much bigger energy than this Eight of Pentacles, because it feels like this is like a Pygmalion vibe, like your ego has sculpted out this ideal. You've been like, you have a checklist, you're like, I want them to have this color eyes, this color hair, I want them to be this zodiac sign, I want them to be tall, I want them to never be mean to me, like, or whatever. But, it feels like your soul has a, not quite a checklist or anything, but just has this sense of like, Again, with duality, that comes through again. There's someone who kind of reaches you on a level that is pre-conscious or unconscious, and it's not about activating like archetypes that you absorbed in childhood. It's not about matching up with your checklist in your mind. It is more of a true balancing energy, something that forces you to grow. Your soul is all about forcing you to grow, honestly. The moon. Yeah, again, it's like your soul wants, this is someone who's going to make you confront your shadow. You may experience their shadow as well, and I don't mean this like they're going to be really shitty to you and like, you know, like not like that at all. It's more that like you're going to realize the ways in the past maybe you've projected onto partners, or you haven't fully... Yeah, it's kind of like, because the moon kind of draws this energy toward her of things that are not yet fully formed, things that may be broken or mistreated or lost or abandoned. So I feel like there's like this island of misfit toys thing, and we're going to like, it's going to like force us to recognize the parts of ourselves that we're scared of, the parts that we find unlovable, the parts that maybe we forgot about. Like we may have this experience of like being emotionally activated and be like, I don't even know why I reacted that way. Like I don't know why that made me so mad or so scared or so hurt. And it's like we're remembering, like we're realizing, we're just, it's like, it's more than, this is like a lot of thinking. This is like a lot of ruminating and going over things and going back and forth. Whereas this is like purging. This is like deep things coming up. Like it's like deep sea creatures with a lot of different like little legs and like weird, it's just like creepy disgustingness that like that lives inside of us, and we have to just like just deal with it, just like acknowledge it, just say like, oh, that's so gross, that's been inside of me the whole time, ew. But like it's that kind of energy, and I feel like this is gonna help you get to this fresh new start. And that's good. It's gonna be a journey. It's gonna at first there's gonna be this strong attraction. It's almost like your soul is tricking you into doing your shadow work, because you wouldn't do it if there weren't such a strong pull. But then once we get through this like subterranean, chthonic, chaotic landscape, we get this beautiful fresh start energy. I'm on top of the world kind of energy. So that's very cool. Any last words on our souls? Okay. You didn't let me finish. Oh, cute. The ace and the page of pentacles. This is all I have to offer myself. Oh my god. That's really cute. They're saying this little doorway. It's like not like this king energy. It's much more humble. I think your ego is like into these more mature, established, or powerful archetypes, but your soul is like just showing me these 2 pages. It's just being like, there's this simple, sweet, sincere energy. With the Page of Coins, this is just someone with an idea that they want to bring into the world, a plan, a goal. Oh, sorry, I didn't really see my legs. But just like, just a really beautiful, straightforward, sincere energy of just like, they might not be super flashy. It's like with the Fool also being here, it's just like really sweet and simple, but it's something really real. Like this is like what they're offering you does have the chance to grow into something incredibly grounded and beautiful and fulfilling. And it's not going to leave you in this state of like, should I stay or should I go, or either or, like going back and forth in your mind. It's just like very sweet, sincere, natural, and wholesome. Like it's a very wholesome energy. It's like we had to go through a lot to get here, honestly, and there may have been wrong turns or bad advice or mix-ups and confusion. But like, it feels like once we get here, it's such a sweet, lovely, simple energy. And this page could be you, or it could be the person that you end up with. But either way, it's kind of like not letting your ideas about the person you're going to be with like get in the way of actually realizing when there's a loving, sincere offer that can make you really happy, like right in front of you. Like, I'm not saying that you have to like settle and go for someone who like has no job, or like or someone who, you know, is really inexperienced or immature. That's not the energy at all. Like, what this page is offering is really real. It's really sincere, but it's just kind of like not letting the idea of like, oh, the person I'm with is gonna look like this and is gonna talk like this and is gonna know this and this and this. It's not that. It's accepting that the person you're with is real. First of all, they're not a fantasy, they're not an ideal, they're very real, and there's someone who wants to grow with you, grow and learn with you, and that's what's really important, and that's the real Ace of Pentacles that's on offer here. So that is what your soul wants for you. I'm just going to do any last messages. Okay. Oh my god. Why did I get a huge one? Okay. So as far as like integrating soul and ego energy, what would be the key for that? What's the doorway? You know, I'm about to just pick the card myself, I swear to God. Okay. Self-esteem. The third chakra. So I kind of see that actually coming through, because I was getting a strong sense of woundedness early on, and I do feel like maybe you overly attach yourself to certain ideas. It's like your soul doesn't disrupt your ambitions with like this moon and this tower here. It doesn't do that because like you're not worthy of having the things you want. Underneath here is psychic abilities. That's interesting. It's not because it's to help you grow in terms of what you envision for yourself, what your third eye can envision. It's like you cut yourself off too early, and it's almost like you don't trust your ability to create your greatest good or your strongest potential. So sometimes you get too attached to certain things that you're just, it's like, that's not for you, unfortunately. I hate messages like that. Like, how dare you tell me what's not for me? Everything's for me. But, yeah, I feel like it's like your soul wants you to see yourself as bigger than that, to dream bigger than that, to, yeah, see yourself as the Six of Wands kind of character. And not that you need to be like, really impressive or have a really arresting or powerful energy. I don't think it's about that at all. It's about, but just like having the self-esteem to sincerely and wholeheartedly pursue things with these pages coming out here, because like that's what pages do, is they really enthusiastically, they're like, to me, they're the most yang, active energy. For me personally, I see the suits as moving from yang, really, really active, exploratory, freewheeling, like hypothetical, like exploring possibilities, all the way up through the kings to being the most yin, grounded, stable, stuck in one way of doing things kind of energy. And that's my personal framework. But yeah, so I feel like what's coming through is that your soul really wants you to get going, to get moving, to get exploring, to try new things, to trust yourself, to really go in new directions, try things you've never done before. So we have protect me from what I want coming out over the Lovers. My God. So yeah, I definitely feel like one last message that's coming through is that like when you do get this soulmate energy, if you don't feel like you've experienced that yet, or you feel like that's been missing from your life for a while, is that it's gonna be more, it's gonna be like not a bait and switch, but it's gonna be like, it's, again, with the Lovers going into the moon, it's gonna be like something that lures you into this situation where you end up having to do a lot of shadow work and a lot of growth. And if like you had known it was going to be that hard, your ego would have been like, never mind, actually, I don't want this. I'm gonna pass on this. And so like what you get incredibly drawn toward, it does end up in this beautiful full energy in the Page of Pentacles, but first it's like you have to clear out your chakras, you got to clear your system, you got to like you got to deal with some issues that have to do with your self-esteem in ways that you've been settling in the past, ways that you sold yourself short, and ways that you haven't actually pursued things that were really going to ground, honestly. With this Two of Swords, it felt like it was always going to be like a push-pull energy. It wasn't ever going to be like truly grounded the way the Ace of Pentacles is grounded. So yeah, I think you will get what you want, but it will be more challenging than you realize. That's just a fun little warning. Okay, this big ass paper. Okay, this showed up right over here. This is a Rumi quote. Do you know why the dog barks in this neighborhood of submission? To scare away those who deserve to be scared away. Heaven forbid that the rider who is a lover of this road be disheartened by the barking of the neighborhood dogs. So this quote comes across, I just said across, it comes across as fairly judgmental. But I do feel like what your soul is saying is that in the past you have been scared off by these barking dogs, by these loud energies that are more bark than bite. With the Ten of Swords being here in the Hierophant, it felt like certain energies kept you from really pursuing and exploring what you wanted because you were afraid of failure, because you were afraid of judgment, because you were afraid of not being as good as other people, not being good enough. And your soul is saying like, yeah, I mean, that's part of your victory and your growth, is learning to overcome that doubt. Self-esteem, learning to overcome that voice of doubt that says, well, this person does it this way. Like, this is how other people have succeeded. This is how other people choose to live their life. And I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can be successful that way. And your spirit is saying that's just a fucking dog barking in a house somewhere. The dog is barking because it's mad that it's in the house and you're free riding around the neighborhood. The dog is fucking jealous of you. Like, see yourself as this rider. You're free to roam. You're free to explore. You're free to do things your own way. You don't have to be so tempered. You don't have to play it so safe. That is what spirit is saying for you. That's what your soul is saying for you. And I think that's the final message for you. So thank you for tuning in and turning on, and enjoy the rest of your day or night or time on Earth. Goodbye. Hiya and welcome if you chose group 2. This Magician's Tarot, I think, and the Wonderland Tarot. So we are going to be talking about what your ego desires for you and what your soul desires for you. Maybe desire is not the right word, but what your soul would love for you to experience, let's say. So the first thing, I'm going to channel the ego energy, and I'm just going to ask about what your ego feels excited by, finds pleasure, comfort, happiness in. So we can contrast that to what your soul finds pleasure, comfort, and happiness in. Okay, wow, the Ace of Air. So this card always gives me like mental control, and that makes sense with the Devil card. I chose the Devil card intuitively for your ego energy, and because it like portrays a devil holding two inert human bodies, it always kind of reminds me of like little girls playing with paper dolls, or like dolls or whatever, where they control every single character in the game, and then growing up and kind of similarly wishing that you could like build a fantasy world where everyone will do what you want them to do. Like, you know, when you fantasize about having conversations with someone and you get really hyped up and you love talking with them in your mind, and then when you're actually with them, they don't follow your script, and that's very frustrating. It's kind of that energy. Okay, so yeah, for what your ego finds happiness in, I feel like your ego likes to fantasize a lot, because in your fantasy world, things go right. They go the way you want them to go. Ugh, Con, I hate the Fool card in this deck. Okay. Okay. So we have the Five of Water coming up. So I feel like you are someone who really, really has a lot of desire and fantasy energy. We have the fucking Fool card. And the hand, it's the same hand energy as this card. So it's like there's this grasping, like wanting, desiring energy. It's really intense. And this is like coming across as insulting. I'm not trying to insult you. We are reading ego energy, so it's naturally going to sometimes be quite low vibrational. And there's no judgment. We have the Wheel here. And then we have, what is this, the Five of Cups? Yes, no, Earth, Five of Earth. So what I'm seeing is that like with this Ace of air and this Fool card, your ego does get very, and it's interesting too because I'm seeing this hand symbolism with these two cards, and then this person is being grasped by a bunch of different hands. So it does feel like you get very mentally stimulated or very excited about certain ideas or situations, and you try to grab and hold on to them and bring them in. You can be quite possessive in that way. You can be very strongly drawn towards certain ideals. But the Wheel, I'm getting the Wheel here as being a sense of a limitation, like life doesn't offer you the opportunities that you want, so then we always end up back at square one with the Ace and the Fool. This Fool is not a carefree Fool energy. There are in certain like schools of tarot that are not really in vogue anymore, the Fool is interpreted as a very earthy character who is kind of interpreted in a negative way. It's like someone who goes through life blundering through the material world, blindly trying to acquire more, who never really learns from this whole culmination cycle of the major arcana. Like we get to the full 21 world, and then the Fool just starts it all over again without ever learning anything. So that is a more negative interpretation of the Fool that this card kind of resonates with, because this card freaks me the hell out. I hate this card, and I'm annoyed with you. It came out when I pre-shuffled too, so what the fuck, dude? Stop making me look at this card. But with the Five of Earth, it does feel like through challenges in the material, through a sense of not getting what we want out of situations, not getting what we want out of life, not failing to hold on to things that we really desire. There is this sense of learning, yeah, because this, so, I mean, how does one interpret a card like this, right? But I always see this as kind of like this Hierophant energy of being initiated into new knowledge. This Chthonic Kundalini energy with the snake body is telling me that we are starting to learn from our desires, and the desires are starting to sort of spiral higher and are starting to take us to a higher level. So it feels like your ego is starting to be more integrated, but it's kind of like you've had to go through a lot of false starts. A lot of disappointments, a lot of feeling of being like the Wheel is also a 1. It's just a 10, so it's this feeling of like feeling like you're gonna get what you want and then you're reset back down to the 1. Very frustrating. This is just like a 1, a 0, another 1, 0, and then 5s, which are the challenge numbers. So let's see what your ego wants you to experience for your happiness and growth. What is your ego feel called toward? Ooh, damn. Okay, the Queen of Peppermills came out in the pre-shuffle as well. So your energy is coming through fucking strong. You have a strong goddamn energy. I guess I'll just take all of these. So the Queen of Peppermills is telling me that you're meant to be a desirous, fiery person. You're meant to feel called towards certain things, to pursue, to explore, but to be in more of a balanced flow. The Queen of Peppermills is the fire of water. So it's a very, very intuitive energy, like extremely intuitive, like the energy of a psychic even, or a witch, if that resonates with you. And it's just like, it's a very powerful energy. She's very responsive to the flow of the world. Instead of trying to grasp things or holding on to them, she kind of goes with the flow. At the same time, she doesn't get overwhelmed like this Five of Cups is portraying. She doesn't completely go into this receptive or even passive watery nature, because she's a mix of water and fire. She's got very strongly intuitive masculine and feminine characteristics. With the 10 of Wands, Peppermills being here, your soul is saying certain men should, situations are supposed to max out. You are supposed to let certain things go. It's like, it's kind of almost like your soul is fine with you going to these extremes of experience because it kind of teaches you what you don't want to do with your energy. You kind of learn by going to these, maybe you've had like moments in your life where you've been really imbalanced in your lifestyle, or you've gone too far with partying, or you've just burned the candle at both ends. And your soul is kind of like, that's just part of your learning process with the Queen of Peppermills, since a big part of your psyche, even if you're not a fire sign, there is like a fiery part of your nature. And your soul is kind of like, you need to learn how to properly balance that fiery energy. And if going through the extreme end of that energy is how you learn, then your soul's like fine with that. Like, she's like, girl, like, you know, you'll learn the hard way or the easy way, but you're gonna learn. All 10s reset to 1s. If that's how you have to like clear out your channel and start over, you gotta do the full reset, then let's do the full reset. You know? It's fine. So then, I just saw your card underneath. Okay, so then we have the 2 of coins here. So yeah, it's all about learning to balance the spiritual and the physical. That's what's going to bring you ultimate happiness. It's not like a freaking sexy, you know, clandestine, like crazy energy, but it is like, it's going to bring you happiness and contentment. And more than that, it's going to bring you success. This Emperor is not a very rigid Emperor. I think that's important to note. This Emperor is the epitome of just being in complete control of yourself in any situation you go in. This Emperor is not controlling the situation. This Emperor could not give a shit about all the crazy things that are happening. But the Emperor is in complete control of themselves. And that's what gives them their power. They come and go as they please. If they're like, this is not for me, peace. Like, you know, you know what I mean? They're free to like come and go. They don't have to stay in situations that don't serve them. So in the past, you may have taken on more burdens or responsibilities, or just like unhealthy lifestyle choices, and that overburdened you, that weighed you down, that fucked up your energy flow. But those experiences were all here to enhance your ability to find happiness and contentment in a healthy and balanced way. And once you get healthy and balanced, then you're back in this fiery energy more than ever. This energy of freedom, of being able to go and do whatever feels right for you. So that's very cool. You're coming across as a very strong energy, that's for sure. And I feel like that's probably why we have this strong energy coming through for your ego. Your ego really wants what it fucking wants, to the point of being almost like petulant or angsty. And it's kind of like, that's just something that you need to work through experience in this world. Okay, I didn't even ask the question yet, sorry. 1 second. Shut up. So they're like excited. Okay, keep that energy when I ask the question. So next I want to ask about your ego's interpretation of your career, calling, life purpose. Another 10. What is with you in 10s? You're like, give me the full 10. I have to be the best. I have to be the most. Yeah, I feel like you have like a fantasy almost, because this is the 10 of air, and this is such an ethereal kind of fantasy. The moon's in the background. It feels like a clandestine dream almost. Like, it's so perfect. And you can see that she's floating away from him, like it's ephemeral. So it's kind of like, it feels like impossible to ground, but it's such a beautiful, gorgeous fantasy. This Queen of Wands coming through again. So in terms of your calling, and this Queen of Wands is so big and so powerful. She's like, literally, she's out of this world. She doesn't fit on this planet. She has to go in search of other worlds. I feel like you really want to be like a larger than life person. You feel larger than life calling. You don't want life to be boring and stagnant and mundane. Like, that shit is like death to you. Like, it's worse than death. You're giving me fire sign vibes. If you're not a fire sign, tell me your sign, because I'm curious now. But yeah, it definitely feels like you just have places you want to go, and it kind of has to be right. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be on point. Anything else to say about career, life path, life purpose? You did not just give me that many cards. No, sorry. Can you be succinct? Give me 1 to 2 more cards, please. Okay, we also have you coming out as the Queen of Coins. We have like a big feminine energy on deck, but regardless of whether or not you identify as a masculine or a feminine energy, what this is just telling me is that like you want to create things because the queens are like the ultimate in creative energy. So the Queen of Coins, it's not just, and this Queen of Coins looks so accomplished and delicious and like this is her world, you're just living in it, you know, and like peep the little tiger down here. So again with the Leo energy coming through. But oh my god. Yeah, it tells me that you want to create things, that like you're here to be creative. You're here to like, you know, create art or create a beautiful living situation or create a business or just create a world where you are free to express yourself at will. So you want to create your own world because then you can be like, it's my world and you're living in it. Like you want to be like, yeah. Yeah, and it's like you have an intense ideal that you are drawn toward and you don't want to compromise that. Your ego is not big with the compromise. Despite all this queen energy, she's not compromising. She's like the full 10s across the board. Okay, so like now let's look at the soul. Also, by the way, if you are like a man or a very masculine energy, the feminine energy can represent the anima, which is basically just like, anima means soul. And men have an anima within them that kind of represents their creative drive. Like literally, actually, that's how Jung defined the anima. It's kind of like the muse who inspires their work. So you, if you are a man or masculine, you just may have a really, really strong relationship with your anima in terms of like your source of inspiration and creativity. Or else you are like a very incredibly powerful, gorgeous, alluring, feminine, or that's how you want to be or be seen. But yeah, okay, so souls take on the life path, the life purpose. 3 of Wands. Yeah, your soul wants you to explore new worlds, new things. Alice was a stranger in a strange land. She did not know the rules of the game, which is quite different from this Queen of Wands here and this Queen of Coins, who are the ruler of their land. This is not the Queen energy. This is Alice pre-being crowned. So your soul just wants you to kind of go out into the world and explore things. The Sun, make new friends, make connections. Yeah, kind of like your soul definitely wants you to shine, wants you to be on your fucking like your best. Definitely with the Sun and the Emperor showing up here, your soul wants you to have a positive relationship with your sort of your, what's the word that I want to use? Your motivated, driving, creative, expressive self. Your soul wants you to have that. Your soul doesn't want you to have like no ego at all. With the Sun and the Emperor being here, they're not telling you to like, there's no hermit energy showing up, you know what I mean? Like they're telling you to have fun with the 3 of Cups. You got 2 3s here, so grow, expand, explore. This is still a very creative energy because 3 resonates with the Empress. But it is also like, recognize that you're still an egg. Let yourself be an egg. You're still growing. You are not this full queen. That's okay. Temperance. Yeah, take it slow. This is a messenger also. Listen to messages. Be open to messages from all channels. Even channels that may be more humble. Yeah. Yeah, so with Temperance, yeah, take it slow, dip your toe in new things. Your Sun is still rising, it's not setting. It'll take time to come into to find your place on Earth. It takes time to get to the garden. Alice had to wander through many different episodes before she got to where she wanted to go, and when she got there, it was actually not what she thought it would be. So this is telling me that you should take more time to have fun and explore and be less achievement oriented. Stop focusing on your 10s, babe. Get into your 3s. Like, let yourself, you don't have to have everything perfectly balanced and perfectly squared away. Not right now, at least. That's what your soul wants from you in terms of your purpose. They don't want you to, like, They want you to be creative. They want you to explore, but they don't want you to focus too much on building your empire yet or achieving your perfect vision. Like, there's more things you need to learn out in the world, more messages you need to receive, more experiences you need to have, and more sort of balancing and transmuting of your own character that needs to happen. So I saved the juiciest one for last. We're asking about love and romance now. I just wanted to calm down for a second. I got weirdly excited. I don't know. I'm gonna blame that on your energy. And also, the leaf blower just started. I have no idea how loud that is. I might have to stop and wait. Oh, sorry about that. That took a really long time. Very impatient. I wonder if that has to do with your relationship with relationships. We'll see. Maybe it was symbolic leaf blowing. I don't know, there's no leaves out there, so it's spring, you jokers. Anyways, let's get into it. So, your ego's take on love, romance, ideal partners, perhaps. I feel like your ego must have a lot of opinions. Just give me a second to like tune back in. Oh, never mind, don't need it. Ooh, 4 of coins. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this. Your ego could have a lot of different options, but also because this is the 4 of earth, but this is actually 5 women. So I almost feel like the one you really want, or the one your ego is really drawn toward, is unavailable or like surrounded. It's like she's protected or surrounded, like she's off limits somehow. That's kind of the vibe I get from it. We'll see if that resonates. What else is there to say about what your ego is drawn toward in terms of love and romance? What do you idealize, or what do you consciously think you want? Oh, 2 of Cups. Okay, yeah, I mean, you're romantic, for sure. And I feel like you want, like, you might be someone who's into, like, twin flames, soulmates, that kind of thing. You want a mirror, you want someone you resonate off of, someone who feels like you share some deep spiritual connection, or like there's a sense of wanting someone who mirrors you. This can be like a beautiful, high-minded kind of spiritual thing, this idea that you're like sharing a journey, like your twins. It can also sometimes be a lower resonance where unconsciously we kind of want the other person to conform to our way of being or our ideal, or what's unlived or repressed in our psyche. We want our partner to live it out for us. Okay, and we also have the 6 of Air. I will probably need a little bit of clarification for that. Don't just drop that on me. And the 10 of Coins, another 10. How many 10s have you gotten? You've gotten a few. At least 3 on this side. So I do feel like you do get very, very attached once you get attached to someone. But it does have to be like a soulmate resonance. I feel like along the way, though, the soulmate energy kind of starts to get into this kind of energy of duality. I'm saying this one person has a creature chained, and she's like trying to take down another one, trying to like... This poor little bird flying around. I'm just kidding. I know it's a dragon. But still, this deck sometimes portrays dragons as like friends and companions, and then other times they're chained up like monsters. So there's this weird duality of like not being comfortable. Like a dragon is a strong, chthonic, also feminine symbol. It kind of, it can link back to the serpent. So it's kind of this dual nature to it. Whether or not it's threatening, or whether or not it kind of like holds secret treasures and knowledge. So, but it does feel like what starts out as a really harmonious connection between 2 like-minded souls can sometimes become a bit of a power struggle, and I feel like that's something that's quite frustrating. The 10 of Coins, I just keep getting the like reset, like the reset vibe with these 10s. They don't feel like culminations in and of themselves. They feel like somehow we're back where we started. Oh yeah, your bottom deck energy is, look, this lady's becoming a tree. It's like the partner can't live up to the real like ideal, with this being the 4 of Wands. There's this idealized energy of the partner, And then when the partner is revealed to be just flesh and blood, there's something inherently disappointing about that. The alternate interpretation of this is like, obviously this harkens back to Daphne and Apollo, so it feels like the beloved eludes us and would rather spend eternity as a tree than be with us. So there's this sense of elusiveness, there's this sense of connections not being able to ground fully. We have a 4, 2, a 6, and a 10, so it should be really balanced, and yet at the end of the day, the vibe I'm getting is that everything kind of decays. That's fun. But that is kind of the energy. There's like a sense of dissatisfaction that comes through. So let's see what your soul has to say about love and romance. Also, it might not be that extreme for everyone, just to like clarify, but there is a darker end to this energy, a darker end to the spectrum, I guess. For some people, it might not be that extreme, I feel called to say. So we have the Two of Wands with your soul. I feel like your soul's got plans for you. Like, again, there's this, it's like you're just at the beginning of your journey. It's almost like when you feel like you want to reach your full 10 with someone, it's like you're cutting yourself off too soon. Or you're trying to rush the process. Your soul is saying, like, go back to the beginning. Don't focus on the end game. Start at the start. The first opening kind of like, energetic connection is really, really important, and kind of like exploring that and like observing, talking, communicating, truly understanding this back and forth energy is much, much more important than the love energy, which may be what you more fixate on with the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups versus the Two of Wands. You just need to really, really know the other person before we try to like force them to fit into our world or force ourselves to fit into their world. Yeah, your soul wants you to spend more time building a healthy base of communication and to not rush and move forward. This Two of Wands is a contemplative energy. I don't know how to say that word. Excuse me. It's like, and this person looks so sad too. They're holding red paint. He's about to paint the white roses red. So it's kind of like, if there's a problem, acknowledge that. Acknowledge that with the Ace of Flamingos. Acknowledge problems early on and build a base of communication. Because I feel like that's something that doesn't happen when you feel those strong feelings, when you're so, if you're a more fiery person by nature, if you're just more of a more intuitive or emotional person. Sometimes we rely on the emotional aspects of the connection. Am I holding this upside down? Sometimes we rely on the emotional aspects of the connection to kind of push us through and carry us through. And ultimately that doesn't work. We need to build the more communicative aspects as well. We need to bolster just create a space where we're safe to actually open up dialogue. Okay, what else about romantic connections? What is your soul pushing you towards or desiring you to explore? Oh, no. No, I'm seeing two tens again. The Ten of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune showing up again. That's interesting. I also see the Nine of Cups and the Five of Coins. So I feel like you may not have a lot of experience, or you may not have a lot of experience that you grew from or learned from or truly integrated into your psyche, but it feels like your soul wants you to experience a lot of different things. And also let go of a lot of different things. Can I have a succinct answer? Please don't take forever and then throw me 8 million cards again. Please don't throw them on my lap. I don't like that. Okay. Can we have a succinct message? What does your soul want for you to experience in love? What is your soul, the High Priestess? You may know what you need to experience. There is like, they want you to slow down. That's definitely coming through. I feel like you are meant to like learn from your experiences with heartbreak and pain and sadness. You are meant to really examine like choices and experiences in the past and learn from them. And this is something for you to do on your own. The High Priestess is something for you to understand on your own. This is portraying Alice as Crown. So this is kind of like you've gone through the experiences, and this is how we get to this full queen energy, is like by understanding and looking within and learning from what we've been drawn toward in the past, the mistakes we've made in the past with our love connections, how we may have cut ourselves short, how we may have been unfair to the other person or unfair to ourselves. How our lack of communication or lack of understanding may have sabotaged really beautiful, loving connections. Just like understanding our own patterns and our own triggers and our own less conscious psychic and emotional energy that kind of comes out in intimate relationships. It's this truth coming through, being able to examine the truth, to gestate on it, ruminate on it, and fully integrate it into our sense of self or our psyche. But I feel like that's a really sad place to end. So can we have a few more cards? Like in terms of like divine love connections, once we've grown from learn to open up our heart space, definitely is something that comes with the Three of. Yeah, so there is a soulmate connection here. Thank you for that. There is someone who wants to offer you a little cup of love, and it's very sweet. Oh my gosh, so the Two of Cups here as well. It's very sweet. It comes with your Emperor energy, I'm noticing. This harkens back to this card. So yeah, with the Six and the Two of Cups coming out, I feel like there is a soulmate energy out there for you. It's very simple and sweet. I just feel like there's something really really sweet and silly about this energy, honestly. We have the only king in the reading coming out technically right here. And he's not even, no one's really, this isn't about, there's no like truly romantic card in this deck. I feel like this is actually their most romantic card. And the fact that the Six and the Two of Cups came out together is telling me that more so than just being like a strong emotional connection like this Two of Cups is, there's also like this really sweet, playful, there's like a sense of safety, I guess is what I get with the Six of Cups. Because the Six of Cups is like, it's a sweet, wholesome energy that's kind of coming through. It's like a softer energy. So this energy you might be used to being in connections with more arguments, more power struggles, but I feel like once you truly kind of evolved past that, and recognize kind of the role that power plays in your relationships and maybe your own need to control certain situations, once we get past that a little bit and open up our heart space more, heal our heart space, we're ready for a connection that is truly safe and sweet and wholesome. Sorry, that's the word that's coming through. Wholesome. Yeah, we also had strength as your bottom deck energy. So I feel like this is work that takes time. It's a lot of facing your fear, honestly, facing your pain, being honest with yourself about things that haven't worked in the past, things that failures or perceived failures. And putting yourself in a place where you're ready to be vulnerable again. That's a hard thing to do. So I'm just gonna finish off your reading with like any last messages. Okay, that's it. Any last messages to kind of integrate your ego's perspective with your soul's perspective? Obviously, this is a general reading as well, so if anything felt like it was harsh or didn't resonate at all, you feel free to take it, leave it, block me, you know how it is. But let's see, can you give me, yes, okay, communication is our big takeaway here. This is the thing we need to learn the most, which I was picking up most strongly here. I feel like, in the past, you may be in your own world, in your own fantasies or your own plans or your own ideals so much that you don't collaborate enough with the energies that are around you. The Sun card is about Alice befriending Humpty Dumpty and listening to all the things he has to say. And this Temperance card is telling you to be open to messengers and messages, even when they're unlikely. It's this Temperance card that announces that the unicorn and the lion are fighting, which was your bottom deck energy, the Strength card. So it's like you could get an unlikely message when you're least expecting it. So we have to be open to communication, open to listening to what's going on around us, and then also adjusting our own thoughts and ideas based on the energy we get from the people around us in the world. Okay, so since you guys got 3 messages and they all popped out together, I'm just gonna double check with my pendulum to see if all of them want to be in the reading, just because like time long. Okay. Okay, does this belong in the reading? No. How about this one wants to be here? How about this one? Yes. Okay, so it's really just these 2 that we need. Okay. So these both came out on the Queen of Coins. This has to do with what you want to create in terms of your purpose and life past. Okay, this is Eckhart Tolle. This quote is, "The ego isn't wrong, it's just unconscious. When you observe the ego in yourself, you are beginning to go beyond it. Don't take the ego too seriously. When you detect egoic behavior in yourself, smile. At times, you may even laugh." So, yeah, I feel like we do get this strong energy, especially from this Queen of Wands. I get a strong egoic energy, not in a bad way. But there is the sense that you can get so caught up in who you think you're supposed to be and what you think you're supposed to achieve that there can be this egoic energy that kind of hijacks intentions that may be very pure and lovely and naturally passionate and excited. So there's just a need to like when you get too far, especially in the like material element of how you present yourself in the world, what you do in the world, how you appear to others, to kind of check yourself and remember to like give yourself a little bit of a ribbing. Just have a bit of a goof. Have a bit of a goof. That's all. Okay, and the other one. When what is near you is far, then your distance is already among the stars, and very large. Rejoice in your growth, in which you naturally can take no one with you, and be kind to those who remain behind. Well, that does remind me of her, because she's flying around in space. So I feel like your soul here is just telling you here that you are going to kind of project yourself out into this incredible dream, or this incredible kind of success. This thing that you're ambitiously drawn toward that you really want to ground in reality. Like, I think your spirit is telling you that this dream, it's not that it's completely out of reach, it's just that kind of what I'm getting with you is that like it might be lonelier than you realize. I don't know why. When what is near you is far. It's like saying don't go too far out into this dream energy, because it is naturally going to be like more ephemeral and dematerializing than you realize. And I feel like there's this yes, you can be very, very successful, but don't forget to foster your real loving relationships and to continue to ground into those, because kind of the drawback of success is that you are going to leave certain energies in your life behind, and those energies could be in the form of people. And that can be harder than you realize. So to remember, the queens can be very communal. They can be, community organizers, community builders. So there's this need to not forget to keep your people with you, and to think about with your visions, like instead of just going purely into like your ideals or your visions and kind of where you're like calling all the shots and you're controlling everything, to kind of think about the fact that like, well, if this is my goal, I can implement it, I can achieve it, but if I don't make room for anyone else in that vision, I'm going to project myself way out there and I'm going to be alone out in space. And if that's what you want, then that's what you want. But I think your soul is calling you to keep a collaborative energy as well, especially with communication being here. So that is the reading that I have for you. I feel like we went a little bit over time, but I can't tell because of all the interruptions. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a nice time and you didn't feel like I was dragging you for no reason. And Yes, that's all. Goodbye. I'm so bad at goodbyes. I don't know. Bye. Hi and welcome group 3 if you chose this Moon Oracle deck and the Tarot of the Crone. Today we are going to ask ego, we're going to ask ego. We're going to look at what your ego desires and wants to bring in versus what your spirit does. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about or look at is what your ego tries to bring in for happiness, fun, and joy, like what your ego is naturally drawn toward. Volcano! I love this card. So you might be quite impulsive. I see the one that definitely makes me think of Aries. I think this is an Aries card. Yeah, it is. Aries, Mars, and the Sun. So you can get very, very strongly drawn toward things. Like, you can have a very impulsive energy. This person is taking like a runner's stance. Like, they're ready to take off, ready to blow. So you're a very passionate person when you really want something. When it comes to bringing yourself joy, I think whatever makes you happy or excited, you tend to take seriously. Let's put it that way. You want more of the same. And I feel like you can experience some very negative feelings when you don't get what you want. There can be a very negative fallout. I'm seeing all these black clouds here. We have some more. Okay, yeah, okay, so this is a waxing moon, I think? Yes, so instinct is the key here. So I feel like you do follow your emotional instincts. You are very, not like at the mercy of your drives, but like you do tend to listen to your drives and your instincts, and you tend to go for it and go fast. With Athena, you are capable of being strategic. You are capable of, this is a Gemini energy. That's so weird. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine. So you are capable of planning and being strategic and taking your time to action something. Mars was like the impulsive, kind of bumbling god of war, whereas Athena was, you're not like again, you're not at the mercy of your impulses and drives. You do kind of like have a stable intellectual mental framework to process them through. But I do think Athena was very, very driven. She was very, very strategic, and she was more dangerous than Mars because she didn't just purely go off of impulse. She planned everything out, and that's why she was the goddess of strategic war. So I feel like when it comes to getting what you want, you're quite formidable. You really, you're a doer. You're a go-getter. If this doesn't resonate, if these sort of messages are frustrating, you may kind of examine your internal drives and see if like maybe your ego is really attached to whatever things that make you happy or things that make you feel joyful or passionate, but like you're afraid to live them out or unable to live them out. With this volcano, it's possible that you, well, with this waxing moon, it's possible this is something that you'll kind of ripen and come more into maturity with. And it's also possible with volcano that sometimes you hold back your energy until it just bursts out of you. I feel what's important here is that the energy and the drive is really, really there. It's very, very strong. It's very, very powerful. It feels more like dynamic and masculine. That doesn't mean you're always able to live this energy out. That will kind of depend on who you are as a person individually. But yeah, I do think in terms of happiness, your ego has almost like a competitive drive toward it. Like there's not enough to go around or something. Like I gotta get my share of the pie. There's kind of that like when you see someone else like in love, you're like, God damn it, why am I not in love? Or like, you know what I mean? Or it's just like if you like there's a competitiveness. Like if you, gosh, I don't know. Like if you went to your friend's party and it was a really, really cool party, you might want to also throw a really cool party. That's not for everyone. That sounds very immature. But like there's a sense of competitiveness that definitely comes through. Okay, but what does your soul want you to approach? How does your soul want you to approach happiness? Let's say that. How does your soul want you to approach your desire, your pleasure, your joy? So we have the Four of Swords coming out first. So I feel like Your soul does like this Athena energy more than anything. There's like a tempered nature to this Four of Swords. It's like it's structured, it's planning, it's constructive. We take these swords and we build a windmill, and then with that windmill we can create green energy. Like whatever it is, it's like it's very like on every level it's logical, it's practical, it's ethical. Like your ego wants you to embrace structure, which is a kind of a weird energy when talking about like pleasure and joy, but I feel like because you can feel so strongly and overwhelmingly drawn toward things, your ego does want you to have a more tempered approach in the way you go after things. With the devil being here, I think your ego is this devil is eating her own hands, so it's kind of like our own hunger and our own desires sometimes. What's the word? Well, hurts us. It trying to think of not that word. A different word, please. It wounds us, yeah, and it takes away our tools and abilities. Athena is such a like competent and successful energy, but when we get overwhelmed by the more desirous nature of the ego, then it's almost like a form of self-sabotage because we don't act in our own best interest. Your soul would kind of wants you to almost like transmute this energy with the Five of Cups. This is the energy of prayer. Instead of needing to take action, of being so driven to chase after what one wants, your soul is kind of asking you to sit with your feelings, to transmute them, to instead of getting like emotionally activated and being like I need this, and like kind of like it's like the snake swallowing its own tail. It's like there's no way out. It's just this endless circle of like I want this, I have to have it, I want it, I have to have it. Your soul is asking you to kind of sit with that emotional energy and either like pray for it, write about it in your journal, surrender it to grace, even if that's the kind of thing you like to do, or create affirmations for yourself, but kind of take the emotional energy and make it more constructive, because right now it's more of an instinctual, unconscious energy, and your soul is asking you to bring it into the light. With the Emperor, your soul is asking you to be very, very structured. This is such a weird energy for like fun. I feel like your soul doesn't want you to go too far into pleasure seeking and gratification. They don't want your soul wants you to like kind of, God, that's such a weird, these two like weirdly airy energies. Yeah, I just think your soul wants you to create boundaries and limitations on yourself with these two fours, to be like, if you decide like you're gonna go to a party and you're not gonna drink, to actually not drink at that party, or if you like smoke weed every day and you want to dry out for a little while, like give yourself a full like month to dry out. Like that's kind of things. Like create structures and plans and then hold yourself accountable. Not that you can't ever have fun again, but to kind of not get too excessive. There's like a kind of excessive vibe here that's coming through. This doesn't have to be about drugs. Those are just examples that come to mind. This could just be with everyday behaviors, like how much you sleep or how little you sleep, whether or not you stay on top of your assignments in school, your emotional relationships, like whether or not you get drawn back toward sexual or romantic relationships that are depleting you or are putting you in this disempowered devil energy where she's eating her own hands. It's that kind of vibe. So what does your ego want in terms of life path, in terms of purpose and just like career? Where does your ego see that energy going? Choice. Okay, so you may not have settled on a certain choice, or you may like to keep your options open. That's another waxing water moon. So yeah, I feel like you're definitely not in a phase where you want to be very tied down. Although with concession being here, you may find yourself like, you may be the type of person who really was like, oh, I never want to have to do like a 9-to-5 job. Like I want to have freedom to go when I want to go and stay when I want to stay, but over time you may have had to make concessions. We're going from a waxing moon to a waning moon. So this could be part of your growth process, like we have to actually buckle down and really make a choice and commit to it, or it could just be a compromise that life has forced us to make for practical reasons. With this being an air moon, these could be perfectly pragmatic reasons that we had to make some concessions in our lifestyle and where we see ourselves, the type of jobs that we take, or how we think our life path is going to go. What else is there for the ego's life plan and purpose? Fountain. Yeah, I wonder if you like are drawn toward just like jobs in the caring professions with all this watery energy, like if you're a caregiver or a nurse or a teacher, a child care worker. I don't know, there's something about this. It feels like you do have a lot of love and nurturing to give. And there's something, the way you see yourself, there's something, a skill or a passion you have that you find very abundant, that you see yourself as being very abundant. This could be also about creativity with Neptune being here. You could be an artist of some kind, a creative type. But yeah, it feels like there's some part of you where it's like this inexhaustible source that you feel very connected to, and it's part of your life path. This could also be spirituality. And yeah, your life path, and maybe the reason, it's either that like there's some abundant energy that you want to use for your career, that you want to follow where that takes you, or it could be that because you are a more spiritual person and you kind of want to glow with the flow of your spirituality, you naturally want to keep your options open. You don't want to tie yourself to some kind of like, grounded career that's going to force you to concede some of your values or some of your need for freedom and exploration. Yeah, Neptune and the Sun can like mix a lot of different ways, but I'm getting it's either spirituality, a nurturing profession, or something creative. And whatever it is, it's like you feel that it could take you a lot of different places, and at some point in life, it's like, it's not that the abundance runs out, it just feels like there are some energies in the world, some pragmatic, practical energies. It's like this Athena energy entering again that kind of forces us to temper the natural, instinctual nature of who you are and kind of get out of our intuitive side and be a little bit more logical and practical, which is what the ego does. It helps us fit into society and the world. But we don't want to lose our connection to source here. It's a very important part of either your career or your life path. So what does your soul have to say about your life path and career? Ooh. Yeah, your soul similarly wants you to be free, a free agent, the Beast of Wands. Your soul doesn't want you to make concessions, that's for sure. Okay. So we have the Four of Discs being here. It's like, just because you're the Beast of Wands, you don't really have to travel very far to find your success. This always makes me think of the Wizard of Oz, how, she comes back and she's like, everything I needed was in my own backyard. The poster on this wall is the High Priestess. So there's a sense of like your source is very, very close to home. You don't have to go far to find it. You don't have to travel the whole world. You can, it's fun, but ultimately you can be a house cat, you have everything you need here. So the Grandmother of Cups is also here, so I am getting that strong nurturing energy with Fountain. Also the Witch of Cups is here, so intuitive, nurturing, you kind of have both of these energies with you, a very spiritual and nurturing energy. And I feel like, yeah, your soul definitely wants you to do something that is, in this wavelength of staying in your watery, intuitive nature. You have a lot to give, and your spirit definitely wants you to continue to give to other people. You have this beautiful fountain. They want you to share that with people. You have love to give. You have guidance. They also, yeah, and then they also just want you to follow your instincts. With the Beast of Wands and the Witch of Cups, yeah, to follow your joy, follow your bliss, to not make concessions for other people, to be a free agent. Um, Kind of like you don't need to go out and conquer the world. You have your own little world where you are perfectly content and taken care of. So yeah, to the most important thing, I feel like your ego doesn't want to make the wrong choice and is afraid of losing that relationship to source. But your soul is saying this is an instinctual drive within you. You can't lose it. As long as you are grounded within your own self, your own physical body, you will always be linked to your beautiful, compassionate, nurturing nature and your powerful, active, seeking nature. And these are a big part of your life path. So it would be, if you do have something, a career you're considering that involves being in a nurturing profession and or is kind of more something that can be a part of your spirituality and feed and nurture your spirituality, that's definitely something your soul wants you to pursue. It's just good experience for you. Let's see. Okay, and so last but not least, the love energy that's coming through. What does your ego feel called toward in terms of love? I feel like you are probably quite union oriented. That's just kind of a vibe that comes through. Because you probably are a more watery natured person, I feel like relating and love is a part of your identity and how you see yourself. We have Palace being here. So I feel like you do want someone you can kind of build a life with in terms of love. Or even that you want to build your own beautiful life in abundance, with 3 reminding me of the Empress. And you're kind of like waiting for that perfect counterpart. But in the meantime, I do see yourself really building yourself up, having a strong self-care routine, appreciating yourself, appreciating everything you have to offer. Also though, your ego is encountering some hiccups. I feel like there is this sense of struggle with relationships. It's a struggle to get on the same wavelength as someone. Again, there's this Mars and Sun energy, same as this card. So we are still really in this energy of being really, really strongly driven toward what we want and feeling like we have to struggle to get it. Like it's not just being offered to us. Unlike this like life path, which is just flowing easily and seamlessly and like we're connected to source, it feels like love is like you're building up this beautiful world, you're filling it with beautiful things, and yet it's hard. It makes me think of the Whitney Houston music video, I Want to Dance with Somebody, and then there's that part at the end where she's like, don't you want to dance? Don't you want to dance? Hey, like, do you know the part of the end where she's like trying to be like, hey, don't you want to dance with me? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's that kind of energy. Yeah, so it takes some time to build up confidence, and I do feel like you get a few confidence knocks here, but you do have to keep your confidence going and kind of be patient through when we get through these connections that are more, well, egoic, more conflict oriented, or where we just feel like the other person does not want the same thing as us or is not on the same wavelength, not on the same vibe. It takes a little bit of time. And there's something that needs to be left behind with this door energy. There's something we need to let go of. We're growing out of something. We're saying goodbye to something and walking through a new door. That's coming. That takes some time to really leave behind connections that I feel like these connections are very stimulating with this Mars energy here. Like they get you fired up, they get you going, but they're not nurturing. Like I feel like you're nurturing yourself, and then you're not even necessarily getting to nurture your partners because it just feels like there's this struggle here. There's this struggle to find the right one. Yeah, and I can see it kind of erodes your confidence sometimes until you're ready to really walk away from old patterns and enter a new wavelength. So speaking of that, what's the new wavelength? What is the wavelength your soul is in? The 10 of Discs. Okay, I'm gonna need more clarification. So your soul's plan for your soulmate or love energy. What does your soul want for you besides the 10 of discs? I guess they want an old cycle to die. That's definitely something. I'm seeing this aged, weary bones figure. I do kind of see this as you in your palace, like waiting and waiting and waiting forever. There's something you need to manifest with the Magician being here. There's some new perspective that needs to be integrated, because this Magician is hanging from the ceiling like a bat, is how I see it. Like, it's this nocturnal energy. What do I even mean by that? The 9 of discs reversed. So it's something outside of your normal sphere of experience. This is your community, but it's like this is outside of anything you've ever known or experienced before. The things that you've experienced in the physical have been stagnant with the 10 of discs. Ooh, don't you dare go back in. We have the 10 of cups. Good, thank you. So there is this, it feels like you're such an emotional, watery energy, but you haven't gotten that with love. You've gotten the fiery energy with love, this conflict and passion. And then over here, there's this earthy energy, but it's kind of like needing to go beyond what we've known in the physical. With the Magician, we need to envision or manifest or set our sights on something that is on our level with that beautiful watery energy, this 10 of cups. This looks like an orgasm, you know, like that's what I see when I look at it. This like pure, gorgeous priestess. It's something your soul is like, it's closer than you think. But at the same time, this is an annoying message. It's closer than you think, but at the same time, it's beyond anything you've physically experienced. It's not something you've known. And you have to walk through this door. The 16 is making me think of the Tower. We have to shatter some kind of old perception so this new perspective can come in, so this new power can come in, and we can go beyond what we've known before. To create and experience this beautiful flowing 10 of cups energy that is like throbby and delicious, honestly. It's really nice. It's a beautiful place to end up, but it does feel like there's some weariness. There's definitely some weariness that leads up to it. And like going back to up here, there's like you need to create some boundaries on yourself, and I feel like that definitely does have to do with the type of connections that you put your energy into, to put some boundaries up against that, to have some more strategic planning. Now it looks like Athena's looking down there at them and is like, let's destroy these stupid little boys. I don't know. But, yeah. It's like we can do better than what we've done in the past. That's the main thing. So, I'm going to get any okay. I'm going to do this first thing, last group, I wasn't sure, but I'm going to ask the pendulum if all of those belong in this reading. Okay, show me yes. Show me no. Okay. Does this belong in this reading? Okay. Does this? No. Okay. Does this? Yes. This one? No. Okay. Why did it leave the fucking big ones? I don't want to read the big ones. I don't know why I put such big quotes in. I need to learn to edit. I'm sorry. Okay. And then the chakra message, just to help integrate what your ego wants and what your soul wants. There's a little bit of conflict here. A lot of 4 is happening on this side. Like, your soul wants you to create some stable boundaries. Oh, and the 4th chakra. Oh my god, love. Oh, cute. Okay, so that's probably also what the 4 means. We have this beautiful energy of love. That's really, I feel like you're plenty passionate. You're plenty intuitive. You're capable of a lot of great accomplishment, and you have a lot to offer. But we do get into some more lower vibrational energy, some more instinctual energy, some martial energy with these two. And so your soul is just calling you to keep recentering love. At the center of everything is love, your beautiful, loving fountain energy that flows freely, that's abundant, that will never run out. This showed up on your ego side, so like you're conscious of this, you know that you have this. And if we stay in this wavelength, it does help us move through this door. It does help us It feels like with all the last cards that came out with the ego, you've already started to transition and change and kind of change your wavelength. So you're already on your way. You're already doing this. You don't necessarily need me to tell you to do this. And I feel like your soul is happy with the work you're doing. It's you're already on this wavelength of alignment, but just keep your heart space very open. Remember to keep bringing love into the situation, because that's when everything flows for you. That's when the abundance really, really starts to come in. So your word messages. Okay, let's go. Everything is gestation and then bringing forth. To let each impression and each germ of a feeling come to completion wholly in itself, in the dark, in the inexpressible, the unconscious, beyond the reach of one's own intelligence, and await with deep humility and patience the birth hour of a new clarity. That alone is living the artist's life, and understanding as in creating. Sorry about that. So this is Rilke. It's a very long quote, but I do think it's very, very beautiful. And I did get like a bit of an artistic vibe with Neptune as well. So I think what in this context, what this is telling me with the instinct and volcano is to not like repress your urges or be like, oh no, I shouldn't. Why am I being so impulsive? Why do I want this so much? Blah, blah, blah. Instead of doing that, to just take that energy and just allow it to gestate, just allow it to grow, because this is an immature energy, but if you sit with it and you work with it, you can grow it into something that is so much more abundant and mature than what it originally is. And there's something beautiful in honoring what you are drawn toward, even if you're not going to move toward that thing because it's not healthy or because you've outgrown it or because it's just not for you, to like look at that impulse, look at that urge, and be like, well, why am I drawn toward that? What am I trying to pull into my life? Like, this urge expresses some part of my psyche that needs to be acknowledged or cared for or nurtured. And so really like looking at your urges and even like the things that you're drawn toward that feel unhealthy or shameful, to really work with that energy and nurture it and understand, what do I need? Like, what am I missing? You know, it's like when you get a craving and it's because you're like, if you're craving a steak, it's because you don't have enough iron in your diet. It's kind of like that. Like, you don't have to eat a steak. You can just take an iron pill, but you have to understand first and foremost why that craving exists for you to deal with the craving in a constructive way. That is the energy I got from that quote. I don't even it's just what I got. All right, and there's another fucking huge one. This is also Rilke. So maybe if you're into reading, that's such a weird sentence. If you're into reading, you might want to read the Book of Hours by Rilke. It's a really, really beautiful book of poetry. Very easy to find. Or Letters to a Young Poet. That's especially if you're like an artistic person, a contemplative person, you might really enjoy Letters to a Young Poet. Okay, let's read it. The beauty of the virgin, a being that has not yet achieved anything, is motherhood that begins to sense itself and prepare, anxious and yearning. And the mother's beauty is ministering motherhood, and in the old woman there is a great remembering. And even in the man there is motherhood, it seems to me, physical and spiritual. His procreating is also a kind of giving birth. And giving birth it is when he creates out of inmost fullness. So yeah, hella artistic energy coming through for sure. This sort of talk of the virgin, the mother, and the crone is not literally a commentary on like being a mother or anything. This is more about the different types of creation that exist within all of us. So regardless of how you resonate with this fountain energy, how it is integrated into who you are, there just is this sense that you need to, more than anything, just honor your creative process, nurture it. And that's why you need these boundaries. It's not that like spirit wants you to be like this creepy emperor monolith or anything. That they don't want you to be boring and be like, well, it's 9 p.m., better go to bed. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, you are this beautiful creative source, so you need to nurture and care for that. You need to take good care of your body. You need to take care of your mind. You need to keep your energy aligned with your highest spiritual nature. And yeah, this is really all about honoring your creative energy, especially with Life Path, where we have the Fountain, the Grandmother and Witch of Cups, as well as the Beast of wands. This is all about honoring your beautiful creative potential. And that's kind of the main message that actually comes through. Your creative potential comes to us in a more immature, egoically driven form, but like as we continue to flow with it, we don't want to dam that up because that is just going to create stagnancy. Instead, let it flow and let it flow, and sort of like the waters that come out at first will be gunky and strange, but let it continue to flow and we'll get to that beautiful fresh spring water that's not only invigorating and beautiful for you, it's invigorating and beautiful for the people who get to be a part of your world. People who deserve it. Oh, you can't even see all the cards. My God, I'm sorry. I'm just always spaced the hell out. I don't even remember I'm on camera. Anyways, that's the reading that I have for you. I hope that was joyful, resonant, beautiful, scintillating. I don't know. Whatever. You pick the adjective. You're the fountain after all. But anyways, that's it. It's over. Goodbye.